agency agreements. Those of you who have attended our CPD classes over the years, and particularly most recently, know that we do talk a lot about getting your agency agreements right. Guys, you're doing, the majority, 99.9% of agents are doing the right thing. You're working hard for your vendors and your landlords and your clients in general, and you're doing the right thing. And you should be getting paid for that. Don't mess up getting paid by getting your compliance wrong, by in particular getting your agency agreements wrong. In the past, couple of weeks, we've been talking about agency agreements every week in Facebook Live. And last week in particular, we talked about sales inspection reports being completed after inspecting the vendor's property prior to entering into the agreement. Making sure that information recorded includes the agent's observations and their description of the property, that you don't write as per contract in the sales inspection report, you actually fill in the sections you've got to fill in. Noting that sometimes, in terms of, that section on easements, exclusions, restrictions, property description, all of those, you may not have that specific information at the time, but, and the vendor may not be, or the landlord may not be able to give you that information. So mark that accordingly, not as per contract, because, again, 99% of the time, contract doesn't exist when you're entering into that agency agreement. So just making sure that what is known and unknown is noted on your agency agreement. It's going to take you another minute to fill that in. This week, I want to take that a little bit further, get a little bit agitated and excited about this one, just because of what, a few of our trainers and myself have seen in this past week, just in terms of making sure your agency agreements will actually get you paid. A couple of big errors and omissions that we're seeing a little bit too often is that section on where a price at which the property is to be offered. So we're talking private treaty agency agreements here, not auction agreements, just private treaty agreements. So it's Schedule 8 of the regulations. It's Section 5 of Schedule 8 or Clause 5 of Schedule 8, and it talks about price at which the property is to be offered. If the agreement provides for the property to be offered for sale by private treaty, the agreement must specify the price at which the property is to be offered. Real simple. Don't write TBA. Never write TBA. It would be to be advised if you're going to put that term in anywhere, but it sure is not here where you put it in. This is where the vendor says you put in your estimated selling price, or your opinion, or whatever you want to call it, but estimated selling price. You put that into your agency agreement, whether it's a set price, whether it's a range, and meeting all of the requirements of your 10% on your range for residential properties. The vendor may well come back and say, yes, but I want that offered at a higher price to market. Obviously, you can't do it if it's a lower price, because that breaks breaches every underquoting rule from the legislation. But you have to fill that section in. It makes your agreement invalid. The next part of it is where your remuneration is there. You've put in what percentage you're charging. You might be charging 1.25%, 2.25%, 1.9%, whatever it is, whether it's inclusive or exclusive of GST, and you've put all of that in. The next section underneath that, where it talks about the commission remuneration, says based on the agent's estimated selling price, the commission in dollars would be, not percentages, in dollars. If you've given a range in your estimated selling price of $500 to $550, then your commission is going to be X number of dollars to Y number of dollars in terms of what is the commission at those two ranges. Some agency agreements in the small print under this section say, if you have given a range in your estimated selling price, then, work out the commission in dollars at the higher end of that range. If you've given one price, then you put in one, commission in dollars into that section. Really simple. Don't leave it out. Makes your agency agreement invalid. And the biggie that I've seen a bit of, really sad one, is people who are still 13 months on, still using the wrong agency agreements. We had major legislative changes last March. If you hadn't heard about that, then I don't know where you've been. But all of the agency agreements changed to reflect the changes in legislation that happened on the 23rd of March last year. So, 13 months ago. So guys, Make sure you are using a current form of agency agreement that reflects the Property and Stock Agents Act, which is the name of the new legislation as of last year. And they're just three things that will make your agency agreement invalid. If you've asked for marketing money and for vendor paid advertising, and you haven't taken that money up front and put it into your trust account to pay for the marketing, and you've said that you'll take that money for vendor paid advertising either at settlement or withdrawal of the agency agreement, then if you haven't got a valid agency agreement, vendor doesn't have to pay you. So, and I'm saying if it's probably withdrawn from market rather than sold, possibly your relationship's broken down, which will mean your vendor will look for reasons to not pay you money. So guys, get your agency agreements right, get paid, be successful, be a professional. There's my rant on agency agreements for today. I am sure that I will rant again on agency agreements. And, rant, talk, whatever it is, it's really important for you guys to get that right.